So no one wants a Walking Dead musical, apparently. I did a poll both on YouTube as well as the Discord, and overwhelmingly the response is no. As of right now, actually on the Discord, there hasn't been a single person that's voted yes. So that actually really tells me something here. And as well as on YouTube, the poll that I made, it is overwhelmingly no. I asked the question, would you like to see a Walking Dead musical? And as of right now, and it might change once I check it in a couple of minutes, but it says that 87% are saying no. So yeah, I wasn't expecting that response. So let's talk about this here. So before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber and definitely have your notifications on, since there will be a lot more Walking Dead news coming out in the next couple of weeks here. Since ComicCon is in like 2.5 weeks from now, there's actually going to be some panel announcements likely happening on Friday and Saturday. They usually do it exactly 2 weeks from the day. So if the panel is going to be on July 26th, which is the Friday, there'll be an announcement this Friday. Or if it's on the Saturday, then there'll be an announcement this Saturday coming up, right? So I'm expecting something on Friday because they usually do panels on Friday, but who knows, right? They could change it this year. But the big topic right now is Walking Dead musicals, and it's because Denai Guerrera did a recent interview in which she talked about, the idea of doing a musical, or her and Gimple were talking, but she did say that her and Scott Gimple were just joking. So like, I don't take any of that seriously at all. I mean, there was a part to it where I think she was kind of curious. Here, I'll just read the quote here just so it makes more sense. Me and Gimple are actually chatting about it, which is ridiculous. He's just said we don't have the rights to it. I'm like, well, let's talk to Kirkman, see what he says to that. I mean, we're really largely just joking around, but stranger things have been done. And I do love the theater. It's about how do you confine it to something, because it's just so much story. So it would really be, how do you confine it to a good 2 or 3 hour play? So again, they're just joking about it, but it seems like they are kind of interested in like, is it possible? Could we do something with this? Like, could we actually do a musical or play or whatever with The Walking Dead? And so, yeah, like she's joking about it, but she's talking about the possibility of it, right? Like, could we get the rights from that from Kirkman? Like, could we just talk to him about it? Or like, how could you tell that as a story? So it's kind of both. I also think because of the response from the fan base that I don't see it possible. Like, I'm not saying that like it's absolutely like nobody is gonna want a Walking Dead musical, because there are people out there that obviously love musicals and whatnot, but because of the poll that I did on YouTube, and as of right now there's 386 votes, so obviously this could change, but only 12% said yes, and that number is dropping quite a bit, because earlier in the video I mentioned how no was at 87%, it's now at 88%, and it's just been increasing over the last however long since I've actually made the poll. So I do think that, in terms of the actual fan base, I don't think it's something that fans would actually really like. I've seen some comments of people saying that, like, if you actually go and do this, I might just be done with The Walking Dead, just, in general. And I think that is, I mean, personally for me, it wouldn't bother me that much, but I do get it. Like, if they ever did a musical, I just don't see it being received well, like from fans in general. Like, people aren't gonna like it overall. I mean, maybe they do the impossible and everyone loves it, but again, I think it's one of those things where I don't even think it necessarily is just like if you're a fan of musicals or not. I just don't know if The Walking Dead and musicals really work well together. I just don't know how you could tell a story there and have it make sense, because of the way The Walking Dead tells its stories. It just doesn't really match up that well. Like, I mean, I'm trying to think of it in both, formats, like doing it as a television show and doing it as an actual musical, or like a play, right, that you would see on Broadway or something. I'm looking at it like that, and I'm just thinking, like, in terms of a Broadway play, I think it might actually work less, because you would tell the whole story and things would get very, dramatic and maybe feel very dark and whatnot. But I just don't know how you would tell certain moments and have it really mean a lot. Like, you would have to focus on very specific character stuff, but again, like making zombies scary and making just that world, just make sense. I don't know if you could necessarily do that unless you're just sort of, again, if it's a play, then it's going to be, in that sort of style, but I just don't know if they could really tell the Walking Dead story that well. And then when it comes to actually doing like a television episode, like, that's a whole other thing. Like, obviously you wouldn't tell that in like a bigger episode of The Walking Dead. And that's the thing too, like, if you're getting 6 episodes of a season, because that's sort of what they're doing nowadays, although they might be going to 8 episodes with Dead City, or starting with Dead City, so future seasons could have 8 episodes, maybe more, I don't know. But you're not going to waste an episode on a musical, right? And have a certain part of that story told as a musical. Like, if anything, you would prefer it to be like an extra episode, but still, even then, I don't know, because I'm seeing a lot of comments of people saying they would prefer to watch like Walking Dead World Beyond, like, I don't think that this would work. Like, The Walking Dead right now is in a really, really good place. Well, I would say that it was in a much better place, like while The Ones Who Live was ending, when it seemed like there was going to be, a bigger universe with the CRM. I still think a lot of that is going to happen, but it's not going to be Major General Beale who's the villain. The CRM, they're not going to be the villains, right? It's going to be something new here. And it's funny because Andrew Lincoln literally said, like, in the interview there that, like, he would love to come back and act with, like, other characters and whatnot, obviously, like with Daryl and whatnot, but the story would have to be really, really good. People should be talking about that and getting really excited about that, but the focus is on the musical aspect to it, which, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, the musical aspect to it, for me, I don't know how I feel about it. Personally, for me, I see how everyone's responding to it. I do get that. And I just checked the poll again on YouTube, and we're at 467 votes, and now no is at 89%. But yeah, personally for me, in terms of, if they did a musical, it wouldn't hurt my view of The Walking Dead, and it would never make me, like, stop watching the franchise or anything like that. But I don't see a moment like this going over well, just in general with everyone. I think a lot of people are going to watch it and be like, I regret watching that. Like, immediately, I think people are going to say, I regret watching that. I think it would be kind of cool to see. It would be funny to see. Like, if you could do sort of a musical as a way to promote the season, I think that would be funny, right? Like, just do like a special or something to promote the next part of the story. Maybe you do something where you're doing a recap of what the story has been over the last however long, and just, where it's going to build up to for the next season, and just put it out as like this like promo special thing. I think fans would like that because, again, you're recapping, the story so far. You're sort of promoting the next season. It's not like a real part of the story or anything like that. I think that could work, but an actual musical, I just don't see it being possible. I really don't, especially because I did the poll here, and I was honestly very, very shocked with the results. I wasn't expecting it to be that much, leaning towards no. I thought it would probably be no for sure. I've heard that over the years. There's been talk of Walking Dead musicals for years and years now, and the response has always been no, you can't do that. But just doing the poll, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of insane. I kind of want to talk about this. The thing is, I don't see AMC really ever, allowing them to do something like this. I just think that it's a little bit too much. I think just for certain things, it's quite a bit. Like, if you look at other horror franchises, I don't really know one, or at least I'm not aware of any that have really done musicals, in a way that would, work, or that people would actually really like. Like, again, I don't really know a lot of musicals out there or anything like that, but I just don't think it makes a lot of sense. Like, I understand it, in terms of just joking around about it and maybe wanting to do it, because obviously you're trying to create shows and all of that, like, within The Walking Dead. So I get them talking about it and kind of joking around about it, but I just think that it's not possible. And I think they're all aware of that. And again, Denai Guerrero was just joking around about all this stuff here, but judging by the response that I saw, yeah, people really do not want a Walking Dead musical. At least most people. There are some people that would want it, but I just think that, again, releasing that musical, I think, everyone's going to start reviewing that really, really poorly, and it would just hurt The Walking Dead's name, I think, overall. So The Walking Dead's in a really good place for now. The Walking Dead's in a place where all the shows, like, I know The Ones Who Live's finale is it's kind of controversial a little bit, but overall, the state of The Walking Dead's in a really good place. Like, you have 3 spinoffs out there that, the quality of the shows are really incredible, and if you want to do another spinoff and all of that, you're going to have that same quality. And that's why I'm kind of interested in ComicCon, because I do wonder what they're actually going to talk about. Like, obviously Daryl Dixon and Dead City, season 2 for both of those shows, but I'm interested in what else is going to be happening, because there's only 2 shows out right now, right? And usually we have a lot more. An original story would be amazing, and honestly, you can still tell the story in the United States. That's fine. Like, I just would love to have, like, newer characters and follow a different story and whatnot. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, post your thoughts down below. Would you like to see a Walking Dead musical? And I know the response is going to be no. Like, I don't want to see a musical at all, but, like, if they were to do a musical, how would you like the musical to be done? Because personally, for me, I wouldn't want them to do a television episode of it. I think doing like a Broadway play, like a musical in that way, I think would be kind of interesting. I think would be, I don't know how you would even do it story-wise. And like, you would want to make sure that, and in that aspect, that obviously it works really well. But in terms of a television episode, I don't think it would be possible. Like, I don't know if I really would want to see that. Even in like Tales of the Walking Dead, if they were to do like a random episode and it was a musical, I just don't don't think I'd be a big fan of it. I think it would just be, I don't know, but that's how I view it. But let me know your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.